Good day, Philippines! Good day, Mother Earth! Let me take you to a highland and island experience on how every individual in the division of Davao del Sur shows dedication in sustaining our one and only home, Earth. Tara! Manorin kita! Most often, we plant trees to provide shade and beautify our landscapes. However, how can we enjoy the benefit if we do not plant more trees? Now, this is tree parenting. One of the most abundant resources that our province has is our well-known Aqua Eco Park. Planting more mangrove will be an imperishable sanctuary to every marine life. Solving garbage issues requires bold initiative and eliminating the sources of the trash that damages the ocean. These people take an active role in preserving and cleaning up coastal area. The key to effective recycling is segregation. Separate biodegradable, non-biodegradable, and recyclable wastes. The Division of Davao del Sur strongly advocates and implements proper waste management as we adhere to the 5 R's. Refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. One of the mainstream activities for preservation of Mother Earth happened during this pandemic. Flower gardening serves as a way of showing how teachers use this hobby to showcase their ingenuity and in so doing helped in conserving one of Mother Nature's best. One of the benefits of using reusable plastic bottles is maintenance-free, since it can be reused many times. It can also save hundreds of disposals of garbage thrown per day. And those are the few among the best practices that Division of Davao del Sur has to offer. The Earth is what we all have in common. May we all be faithful, committed citizens in sharing the same idea to continually love and preserve Mother Earth. Pinasiglang mundo. We can, we will, we must. It has been Elijah Libres saying, think globally but act locally.
and fine. We need to be equipped with skills and ability that you gotta learn individually. Life will be so easy if you live in it creatively. We need to be equipped with skills and ability that you gotta learn individually. Globally we can compete. Through TLE we can make it. Life skills on. Life skills on. Life skills on. Life skills on.
Halina't ating tuklasin ang hiwaga ng mundo. Kaalaman ay palawakin sa teknolohiyang makabago. Ito'y isang asignatura tungkol sa panitikan at wika. Kaya't halina't makisama gamitin ang teknolohiya. Wikang Pilipino'y ating palaganapin. Magbasa at alamin, teknolohiya ay gamitin. Tutok ka na lughasa sa wikang sarili ating. Tara na at tuklasin, dalog wika ay gamitin. Wikang Pilipino'y ating palaganapin. Magbasa at alamin, teknolohiya ay gamitin. Tutok ka na lughasa sa wikang sarili ating. Tara na at tuklasin, dalog wika ay gamitin.
Your knowledge must work with your talent, because life gets easy when your skills coordinate. Don't be afraid to show that skills that you have. Music and arts, key and hand come together to make you better. That's what we come from. Learning my way. Learning music and art is easy in every way. That's where we come from. Learning my way. Makes your body to be happy. My fear wants you.
the aliens and outer space even true. After cure diseases like COVID or flu. Because it's all about science. Explore the world through science. Go out and love science. Science. Explore the world through science.
Araling panlipunan, araling naglalarawan sa lipunan. Malawak na pag-aaral sa iba't ibang larangan. Kinasasangkutan ng nakaraan at pangyayaring kasalukuyan. Mga aral na puno ng hamon at katotohanan. Araling panlipunan, pangyayaring hatid ay katotohanan. Layunin ay matatag na pag-aaral sa ating mga kabataan. Halina't tuklasin ang kaalaman tungkol sa pagmamahal sa bayan, sarili, kapwa, pamilya at kapaligiran. Halina't mag-aral at matuto, pamamagitan ng Mujo TV at radyo, online at iba pang mga paraan. Kaligtasan ay siniguro dulot ng pandemyang ito. Walang imposible basta't sama-sama, tunguhin sa pagsulong ay matupad. Tara na't aralin natin.
Halina't ating tuklasin ang hiwaga ng mundo. Kaalaman ay palawakin sa teknolohiyang makabago. Ito'y isang asignatura tungkol sa panitikan at wika. Kaya't halina't makisama, gamitin ang teknolohiya. Wikang Pilipino'y ating palaganapin, magbasa at alamin, teknolohiya ay gamitin. Tugtog na dalubhasa sa wikang sarili atin. Tara na at tuklasin, dalubwika at ay gamitin. Wikang Pilipino'y ating palaganapin, magbasa at alamin, teknolohiya ay gamitin. Tugtog ka dalubhasa sa wikang sarili atin. Tara na at tuklasin, dalubwika at ay gamitin.
Nothing's smart, work with your talent, because life gets easy when your skills coordinate. Don't be afraid to show that skills that you have. Music and arts, we and health come together to make you better. Let's go have fun, learning my way. Learning music and arts is easy in every way. Let's go have fun, learning my way. Make your body to be happy. Mommy rocks you in every way. Mommy rocks. Mommy rocks you in every way. Don't be afraid to show that skills that you have. Music and arts, we and have come together to make you better. Let's go have fun, learning my way. Learning music and arts is easy in every way. Let's go have fun, learning my way. Get your body to
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Day 2 on Virtual Capacity Building for Teachers on the Utilization of Media Application for Online Class live via DepEd Davao del Sur Classroom and DepEd Davao del Sur Facebook page and DepEd Davao del Sur Classroom YouTube channel. A pleasant Wednesday morning division of Davao del Sur, especially to our teacher and school head participants who are in their respective posts while participating in the second day of our webinar. My courtesy and greetings to our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Nelson C. Lopez, SO5, OIC Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Janet G. Veloso, Chiefs of the Functional Divisions. We have the SGOD Chief, Dr. Mario C. Mondihar, and the Chief of the Curriculum Implementation Division, Ms. Sherilyn A. Cometa, our very active and efficient education program supervisors who are all with us all throughout this particular event. Public schools district supervisors of the 15 districts of Davao del Sur, the elementary, junior high school, and senior high school school heads, my fellow teachers, facilitators, and the technical working group members, a pleasant morning to one and all. To formally start our activities, let us take a moment for reflections and our prayer.
We pray for blessings, we pray for peace, comfort for family, protection while we sleep. We pray for healing, for prosperity. We pray for your mighty hand to ease our suffering. All the while, you hear each spoken need. Yet love is way too much to give us lesser things. 'Cause what if your blessings come through raindrops? What if your healing comes through tears? What if 1,000 sleepless nights are what it takes to know you're near? What if trials of this life are your mercies in disguise? We pray for wisdom, your voice to hear. We cry in anger when we cannot feel you near. We doubt your goodness, we doubt your love, as if every promise from your word is not enough. All the while, you hear his desperate plea, and long that we have faith to believe. 'Cause what if your blessings come through raindrops? What if your healing comes through tears? What if 1,000 sleepless nights are what it takes to know you're near? What if trials of this life are your mercies in disguise?
God of grace, we open our hearts, minds, and souls to worship you. Thank you that today we dwell in your kingdom and live in your presence. We thank you for the breath of life that you breathe in us. Send us your Holy Spirit to be our guide and give us the wisdom to understand all that was discussed today. May all that we've learned from this event bring success and growth to each and everyone. All these we pray through our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
'Cause what if your blessings come through raindrops? What if your healing comes through tears? What if 1,000 sleepless nights are what it takes to know you're near? What if my greatest disappointment or the aching of this life is the revealing of a greater thirst this world can satisfy? What if trials of this life, the rain, the storms, the hardest nights, are your mercies in disguise?
For today. We have now reached at least approximately 400 viewing participants as of this time, and we're still waiting for the rest of the 831 expected participants from 15 districts of the entire division of Davao del Sur to join in. Our link for today's attendance will be flashed on your screens in the morning and in the afternoon. So please watch out to register yourselves. Another link will be flash also for today's evaluation, and please watch out for that. And so we are asking everyone to be with us until the third day of this particular event. Time check, it's 8:30 Philippine time. So now let's have a recap about yesterday's activities, May 4, 2021. Yesterday in the morning, Ma'am Berly Sulamo, Master Teacher 1 of Santa Cruz National High School, discussed about the uses and importance of video communication in online class. Following the first topic of Ma'am Solano, in the morning was about improving knowledge on basic technology skills for online teaching that was given up by Sir John Ronan Colambanos V. Cortez of Matanao National High School. The third topic was about acquiring improving skills on utilization and operation of Google Meet application that was given to us by Ma'am Dea Marie Paulo of Hagunoy National High School. In the afternoon session, the first topic was facilitated by Sir Maurice Dens Bacaling, Teacher 3 of Santa Cruz National High School. In the afternoon, following the aforementioned topic, was about acquiring improved skills on utilization and operation of Zoom application that was facilitated by Sir Gilbert Erasmo, ICT Coordinator of Barayong National High School. The afternoon session was concluded by Ma'am Jasmia Rivillesa, a science teacher from Matanao National High School, in her topic on acquiring improved skills on utilization and operation of Class-In application. As for today, we will get engaged with the 6 topics prepared by our very resourceful facilitators. But before that, may I remind that participants are encouraged to submit questions related to the topic during the discussion and during the different sessions on the comment section, and we will be giving time to our speakers to answer your queries later on. So of course, we encourage everyone to participate in every topic discussions and activities so we will all learn better. All right, so we are now set for our first topic, which will commence about capacitating teachers about online teaching. Let me call in Ma'am Honey Jean Balanco, a teacher from Molopolo National High School, to introduce to us our first speaker.
My courtesy to our school's division superintendent, Dr. Nelson C. Lopez, CESO 5, together with our assistant schools division superintendent, Dr. Janet G. Velosa, CESO 5, to all our Education Program Supervisors, spearheaded by our CID Chief, Ma'am Cherilyn A. Cometa, supervisors in all districts, school principals and school heads, to all our teacher participants who are watching in this virtual capacity building, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Our first speaker is a graduate of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in General Science at Carriazo College. He finished his master's degree in Master of Arts in Science Education at Bukidnon State University. He is currently undertaking his doctor's degree at Bangsamoro State University. He is a recipient of DepEd Bukidnon State University Scholarship Program in 2016 and Basic Education Research Fund 2018. He is a senior high school teacher, a STEM coordinator, and a school research coordinator at Hagunoy National High School. To share his expertise, ladies and gentlemen, Sir Alfie Velez Ando.
All right, so good morning to each and everyone. My respect to our division school leaders, our school heads, teachers, and participants of this 3-day session. Thank you also, Ma'am Hani, for introducing me. I guess it's quite true indeed that when you are being introduced properly and nicely, it all adds up to the pressure in presenting something. But anyway, my task this morning is to share with you a certain topic which is not that foreign to each and every one of us because we have been doing this since time immemorial. And I guess for those who are attuned to this, consider this as your refresher. But for those who are still new to the concept of online teaching, then you can also use this one as your resource material. For those who didn't manage to see this presentation live, you can also review these videos later on as a replay, and you can pause anywhere and anytime for you at your own convenience. To start with, allow me to share my screen first. All right. So this is it. This is the day two of our 3-day session for the media application, the capability building for the utilization of media and applications. Again, as what I've said a while ago, my task is to share all about the preparation for online teaching. So right now, as we try to observe our environment and even our country and even the world in general, we are facing the dilemma caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. And right now, we are still trying to cope up with the changes that emanates from it. However, there is one dilemma that for me seems to be silently creeping through space and time. Now, this dilemma, my fellow teachers, is not new anymore. And you may wonder why this dilemma still exists as to this moment. It is because there is a gap between these two natures of individuals who are involved in the educative process. The first is our learners, and the second are the teachers who are teaching these learners. According to Prensky in his study, our new generation right now have been exposed incredibly with the so-called social media, technology, applications, and whatnot. And because of that, he coined a term known as digital natives. And so, according to Prensky, once again, these digital natives tend to process information very quickly and they have little patience as well in terms of understanding a certain topic. In short, they have a specific and complex need to understand something. On the other hand, we also have this thing called the digital immigrants. Now, these digital immigrants, according to Prensky, are somewhat related to the teachers who are trying to connect with these digital natives. Now, these digital immigrants um, encompasses a lot of spectrum or spectra. Later on, I will be presenting those types of digital immigrants. So it is a very known fact indeed that the learners of the past is quite different or are quite different from the learners of today. In the past, if you can still observe and you can read some history books, the age-old adage, which is the master and apprentice, the teacher and the learner, wherein the learner will just wait for the teacher's input and they will have to submit their outputs through traditional means like doing notebooks and paper stuffs. That is not already applicable right now because whether we like it or not, our learners right now are very much adept in using technological advances like gadgets, cell phones, tablets, even the internet. And so we try to think about them as a separate or distinct type of generational species wherein they are needing something different as well. There was once this scenario wherein a teacher likes to convey his or her assignment to the students, not knowing that his or her students are somewhat adept already with technology. The teacher was expecting about the submission of his or her assignment in a form of a paper format, but then he was or she was shocked because her students or his students managed to submit it through email. So if you can observe, if you try to imagine the feeling of that teacher, well, if you're that kind of teacher who is not very much attuned to technology, then maybe you will be astounded or shocked by the manner at which these students are submitting their inputs. And so it is a known fact indeed that different students right now need different approaches, especially these digital native students. As what I've said, it needs different approaches to educate digital natives. And right now, based on my fellow presenters' presentation yesterday, they have already given you some or several media apps that can be utilized by us, by you, in the near future. Please do take note that all those media apps are a means to an end. And this end actually is towards the educative process wherein our students is at the center of it. So we have different approaches right now in order to cater the different needs of these students of ours. We can utilize PowerPoint presentations as presented by my fellow presenter. We can use Zoom applications, Google Meet. We have blogging, podcasting, and so on and so forth. But if you try to question yourself if what is the current standing or understanding right now in terms of the media or technology adaptation or adoption of each generation, then I can say that this is actually quite promising. Why, you may ask? Because there's a certain study conducted in the United States of America wherein it states that even though these digital immigrants are somewhat very um, not connected to the social world, but there is this thing called people who are under this generation, millennials, boomers, and silent generations, who are still trying to adopt these changes. So there is a promising data for this, and I know for a fact that teachers in the Philippines are doing this as well. So what are these digital immigrants groups that we need to know? Of course, before we try to plan out our lessons, before we try to prepare our online platform, we need to identify first what kind of digital immigrant are we. So first are the avoiders. So judging from the term itself, this type of immigrants prefer a relatively minimal technology or technology-free lifestyle. So they tend to use no technology at all or at most at a minimum. They don't have any email account and most of them have no smartphones and they tend to have deadlines, the so-called traditional deadline checking. So I know several teachers out there who tend to use not smartphones but keypad phones like in the past. So they still do exist right now. We also have this thing called avoiders that tend to use social media. They think that social media is too much for them, and they do not see the value in this activity. So basically, they tend to keep away from social media applications like Facebook. They don't update their profiles. They don't usually post something there. They just actually hear something or some news from their colleagues actually. Okay, so that's avoiders. The second one, the type of immigrant that we have are the reluctant adopters. So they tend to accept technology and they are trying to engage with it, but they feel unintuitive and hard to use that certain technology. So the concept there is they are willing to learn. However, try as they may, they see technology as a daunting task. Now, again, this is not strange because I know for a fact that we have colleagues out there who are very resilient or resistant to this thing called technology. They have cell phones, yes, but they do not use texting. And occasionally they use Google, but they don't have any Facebook account. And they check emails and use online banking. So, again, they are very much open to a application of this technology. However, they feel that using this technology is tasking for them. Next, we have the enthusiastic adopters. So this type of digital immigrants have the potential to keep up with the natives. They embrace technology, and most of them, if not all of them, are high-tech executives. They are programmers and business people. They see the value of technology. They use Facebook and check emails regularly, and technology makes them excited. Just like, for example, if there is something new out there in the market, they tend to grab it and they tend to invest a lot of time and money from it. And if these digital immigrants are doing business or in the business sector, they have a certain website for it. Right? So I guess these are the three types of digital immigrants. Try to evaluate, my fellow teachers, which among the three do you belong? Are you an avoider? Are you a reluctant adopter? Or are you an enthusiastic adopter? Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying that there is a particular type of immigrant here who can be considered as a weaker link. No, it is actually based on preferences and mindsets, actually. Now, in the perspective of the students termed as digital natives have their own set of grouping as well. They also have this thing called avoiders. Even though they were born in the digital world, some young people do not feel an affinity or fixation for digital technologies and Facebook. Yes, there are students out there, despite the fact that they are being exposed with social media, applications, and technology, they tend to shy or keep away from it, maybe because of financial matters or even preferences as well. And as what I've said, again, it's all about preferences and mindsets. Mobile technologies do not actually attract them, and since it is not attractive to them, they tend to keep away from it. All right, so there's a note here that my slides are actually not moving. Let me check. May I ask the host, ma'am? Right. So I guess there are some technical glitches right now. I was informed that my slides are not actually moving. So let me share screen again. Right. Ma'am Ives,
Yes?
my PowerPoint daw is not actually moving.
Okay, so we're trying to fix this particular technical difficulties. So our apologies for some technical difficulties in this live stream. Thank you so much for bearing with us. Sir Alfie,
Yes,
relax ka
ma'am.
muna
Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Yes,
as we are
ma'am.
trying to fix this particular technical difficulty.
I will try to screen share again, Ma'am Ives. Let me check if I can still move na the slides. Will it be okay?
Yes, we are trying to fix this matter and our technical working group is working on it in a few minutes. We'll be back on track, hopefully. Thank you so much for your patience. So meanwhile, allow me to take this opportunity to express our thanksgiving in the realization of this webinar, especially to Davao del Sur Division Education Program Specialist, headed by our very own Chief of Curriculum Implementation Division, Ms. Cherilyn A. Cometa. Also, our heartfelt gratitude to our SDS, Sir Nelson, and our OIC ASDS, Dr. Janet, for the all-out support, Ma'am and Sir. Our Thanksgiving is also going out to all of the school heads out there and the respected public schools district supervisors for all the support that you have given in this particular webinar, most especially to the teacher participants for staying with us until today. Thank you so much for bearing with us, and we hope to see you until the last day, tomorrow, on the third day of our webinar. Of course, this day wouldn't be made possible without the help of the production team behind the camera, headed by Sir Christopher Felipe, our LRMDS focal person. Thank you so much, sir, and to the entire production team.
Dito sa mundo ay walang kasing kapis, kaya nagmumawit ang sariling ibig. Bawat tagintig, ang wika'y pag-ibig, siyang umahalik ng pusong nagiliw. Mahirap na tagang umirog, singkay dali-dali may lutos. Marami ang puso, ang tibok ay sipayo. Ano kaya kapatanan ng matibig lagay? Asahan mo't ipalad, kakanggan mo'y sakay.
Alfie, are you still there?
All right. So again, my
Hi, Sir
apology.
Alfie.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm here already. So I guess my PowerPoint is already visible.
So we're still waiting until Sir Alfie is already fixed in his particular difficulty in on the other line. Sir
Yes.
Alfie,
Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Yes, ma'am.
very good. So thank you so much for waiting. So let's go back to our first speaker, Sir Alfie. Sir, you may take it away.
Okay, ma'am. All right. So my apologies once again for some technical glitches. Again, that is the curse of doing live. I was informed that my slides are not actually moving, so I guess I have to do it again. So please bear with me on this one. As what I've said a while ago, we are facing right now a different set of students or learners, as what Prensky have said. And this type of learners are known as digital natives. On the other hand, the teachers who are trying to connect with these digital natives have their own coinage as well. And this is called as digital immigrants. Again, this is based on Prensky's study or idea. As what I've said a while ago, um, the concept of students learning at an early age about online platforms is very much visible and eminent not only to our students but also among our families, right? Okay, let me check. And so there is a need for us, as what I've said a while ago, to approach these digital natives differently. And we have several applications and platforms in order to cater them. Based on what my fellow presenters have done yesterday or presented yesterday, you can utilize several user-friendly apps just to incorporate in your online lessons. You can choose PowerPoint presentations, you can choose WebEx, you can choose Google Meet, you can choose Zoom, anything that will be convenient in reaching your digital native students. Let me reiterate that there are groupings under the digital immigrants na category. First are the avoiders, as what I've said a while ago. And these are the type of digital immigrants who tend to prefer a relatively minimal technology, or as much as possible, they shy away from a technology lifestyle. They do technology-free lifestyle. They don't have any email account, and they don't have any smartphones at all, and they tend to have the usual traditional deadline making. So again, let me share that I have several colleagues out there and even mga friends that tend to use keypad phones of the past rather than doing the so-called smartphones. Again, this is all about their preferences and mindsets. Again, for the avoiders, they tend to see social media as too much for them, and they do not see the value in these platforms. These are the avoiders. Secondly, we have the reluctant adopters. From the term itself, reluctant, they accept technology and they are trying to engage with it, but somehow they feel unintuitive and daunting to use it or utilize it. They have the guts, they have the means to do it. However, somehow technology is not friendly to them. They have cell phones, yes, but they do not use texting. They prefer calling. Occasionally, they use Google, but they do not use Facebook account. And they check emails, however, and use online banking. The third and last type of digital immigrants are the enthusiastic adopters. Now, these are the type of immigrants who have the potential to keep up with the natives. They have the guts, they have the means, and they have the determination to be at par with the current generation. They embrace technology, and most of them, if not all, are high-tech executives, leaders, programmers, and business people. They see the value of technology. They use Facebook and check emails regularly, and technology makes them a little bit excited or more. As what I've said a while ago, this type of immigrants tend to have a look out on the current trends, the current gadgets out there in the market, and they invest a lot of time and money just to keep up with it. And if they are in the business sector, they do have websites. So once again, let me ask this question to my fellow teachers and participants. Evaluate yourselves. Think about it for a moment. Which among these three types of immigrants do you belong? Are you an avoider? Are you a reluctant adopter? Or are you more on in an enthusiastic adopter type of immigrant? Again, let me reiterate that I am not saying that there is a weaker link among the three. It's all about preferences and mindsets. If you do believe that you belong in one of this type of immigrant people, then make use of what you have. Try to adapt if you can, and you go along with the flow. On the other hand, we have the groupings for the digital natives. And as what I've said a while ago, this pertains to our current generation right now, our learners. Again, just like what happened to the immigrants, natives also have their own set of avoiders. Despite the fact that they are being exposed already with technology, that there is already Facebook and other social media application, they tend to shy away from it. There are so many reasons for it, maybe because of some financial issues, or again, maybe because of preferences and upbringing. Mobile technologies do not attract them, do not enamor them. And they have cell phones, but they don't use email usually and social media accounts. So again, these are the type of learners or students that they do have cell phones, but when you try to look at them, when you try to monitor them, especially in a Google chat or in a group chat format, they are usually online, but they don't usually reply. I know there are teachers out there who can relate to this. There are students out there who tend to just be sinners despite how long a teacher writes on his post or in on his or her announcement. Still the students will just see the post, sinners kumbaga, and we can consider them as avoiders. There are digital natives that are considered to be minimalist. From the term itself, minimalist, they use technology minimally. And when they perceive it only as necessary. So as the need arises, they use technology. Again, I guess it's safe for me to say this that majority of our students, if not all, tend to fall among this grouping, the minimalist. They search information on Google if they have to, and they purchase online if they cannot buy something at a local store. So I do believe everyone can relate to this. Gone are the days that you can actually queue for a line in the supermarket to find something or buy something when you can have it in an instant through any online store, just like Lazada, Shopee, and so on and so forth. So students tend to use those kind of applications as well. So if those students are like those, then they are considered as minimalists. They check their Facebook account once a day or every couple of days. Again, this is pertaining to every teacher's experience right now, especially in a COVID-19 pandemic setup in a new normal platform that is it is our universal struggle actually to connect with this type of students because we cannot actually um, determine what really is their available time. We cannot really expect if they are still online during that time. So we cannot actually pinpoint the exact availability of the students. So if this type of students are somewhat falling for that category, then they are called as minimalists. And we do have the enthusiastic participants. So basically, this is the counterpart for the digital immigrants type of people. Majority is visible in the digital native generation are enthusiastic participants. They enjoy technology and gadgets. They use Facebook all day long and have other social media accounts. They watch YouTube and movies online as much as possible. So I guess if you try to evaluate, most if not all of our students fall in this category as well. And usually this type of students who are enthusiastic participants tend to do first thing, uh, when they try to find something new, they turn to Google, right? Instead of asking someone or asking their teachers, they tend to research, they tend to read stuffs out there in the virtual world through Google search engines and the likes. Moreover, this group is easier to reach via social media rather than cell phones. Again, every teacher can relate to this because there are indeed students who are available in the social media platform, and they tend to reply immediately if you try to reach them in the group chat and the likes. There are also students who tend to reach their teachers through email, but they are somewhat on the minority group. They thrive on instant communication and own a smartphone for constant access to the web. Right? Now, if you try to observe, I managed to present the types and categories of digital immigrants and digital natives. Now, I try to look into it in a general perspective. It is all about online education. Now, if you try to ask yourself, what is online education? There are so many definitions out there, depending on what author or author are you trying to cite. But basically, if you try to dig deeper with regards to this terminology, it has something to do with e-learning. And again, e-learning entails a lot of practices, a lot of skills. Highlighted there is the term virtual and the term online. Hence the term e-learning, electronic learning. But to give you a quick definition of what online learning or online education is about, as cited from a certain website cited below, it is a form of distance education in which a course or program is intentionally designed in advance to be delivered fully online. Now, let me emphasize the phrases intentionally designed in advance and delivered fully online. My fellow teachers, take note po that online learning is not actually done by accident. When you try to decide to dwell or delve in this online platform, it is intentionally designed by you in advance, meaning you have to prepare for it, you have to plan it out in advance. And again, since the term online learning here is very much eminent, you should deliver it fully online. Now, I know teaching is a continuous process. Teaching comes in different approaches, comes in different sizes and shapes, if you must. And as what we have learned in the past, basically in our undergrads, even in our master's degree or in doctorate degree, there are several ways to approach teaching and learning. The usual traditional type is the face-to-face type, which we actually missed right now. Then we do have the so-called blended approach, which is a combination of the different approaches. And if you can also accept or adopt the fully online distance learning. But if you try to observe, despite the fact that there are distinctions between each type of approaches, we must not fail to acknowledge the fact that all of this are a means again to an end. And that end is the educative process on which our students are at the center of it. Always remember po that the students are the center of our educative process. So regardless of what approach you may do, whether it will be online or offline, we must not take for granted, and we must not put into jeopardy the learnings of our students in general. All right, so here are three forms of interaction for students if you try to plan an online platform or environment. Now, these three forms are actually the things that you must take into consideration. The first one is the student content interaction. Now, if you are a teacher who is new to this type of online approach, you have to see to it that the student content interaction is not sacrificed. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, it is a daunting task. But then again, take note that This approach is just a means to an end, as what I've said a while ago. We have to assure the fact that the students have to learn something. It is not all about the delivery, but the learnings of the student as well. Secondly, we have the student-student interaction. Again, this is a daunting task because given that the platform is not something that is familiar to all of us, especially when we try to use online applications, student-student interactions sometimes are taken for granted. So, as a teacher who will try to approach this kind of platform, you must see to it that when you design your lessons, the student-student interaction is still there and is visible. And the last one is the student-teacher interaction. Again, even though there is a barrier in between you and the students, because the students technically are in the virtual world, depending on perspectives, you must see to it also that there is an interaction that exists between you and the students themselves. You must design lessons that enable you to talk with your students, that the students can also approach you and ask you questions as well. There are ways to do it. It may be a little bit daunting at first, but it can be done. As what I've said, each of these forms of considerations play an important role towards the educative process. When you try to design your own lessons, see to it that all these three forms are taken into consideration. So, in connection to that, you can ask yourself these three questions to consider in student-centered online teaching. First question, how will my students interact with the lesson or subject matter? So, of course, when you try to design your lessons prior to the designated schedule, may it be demonstration or the usual stuff that we do every day, you have to see to it that you will design a lesson wherein the students can interact with you. Now, in what manner depends upon your perspective. There are so many approaches out there that you can do. You can even use online applications for that in order to facilitate interaction between the students and the subject matter. Second question, how will your students interact with other students? In what manner? In what form? In what platform? There are so many applications once again that can be used on this. You can even use group chats for this because some of the students of ours tend to use group chats most of the time. They can interact there. I believe students have their own group chats as well, aside from the fact that teachers have their separate group chats with their respective subjects. Again, try to question this on how your students will interact with their classmates in an online format. The third and last question to ask is, how will your students interact with you, their teachers? Are they able to question you through online board applications? Can they question or approach you through group chats again? Or are they able to be given the chance to do it live? Like for example, in an online streaming platform like Zoom or Google Meet. So again, if you try to design your lesson, see to it also that your students have this chance to interact or ask questions with you. And this is very crucial because the teacher's role here is not only to input knowledge or new learnings to your students, but also to correct misconceptions. And as we all know, misconceptions tend to dwell a little bit longer if not corrected immediately. All right. So let's get directly to the tips on how to prepare for teaching online. So if you try to observe, I use this approach because it is quite friendly for us to digest. You can check several websites that I have used on this on the reference page, which I will be reflecting later on. The first tip, plan your classes. Again, let's go back to the definition of online learning or online teaching. This is actually done intentionally in advance. And so the concept of the word advance there means that you have to plan it out. Do not use or decide to use online platform as last minute recourse. Yes, it can be done if you are good enough, but then again, it's something different if you manage to plan it in advance, right? So of course, when you plan your classes, you have to plan the lessons pertaining to your lesson plan, to your WHLP or work from home learning plan. You have to coordinate with your principal if you must, or your coordinator, subject coordinators. Again, this is all about advanced planning, advanced thinking on what will be the direction on attacking the certain topic through an online platform. Secondly, prepare and master technology. So I inserted the term master there because preparation is not enough actually. When you try to use a new technology or a new application, you have to prepare and master it. Now, mastering it entails a lot of time. Yes, hence the term advanced preparation. So if you are something new in using Google Meet, you have to really study Google Meet. Now, there are several sources out there that you can utilize. There are tutorials, online tutorials for you to utilize. There are videos out there in YouTube that you can use that will teach you how to do those certain apps properly and efficiently. So again, prepare and master those technology. Third one, you must set up an adequate working environment. Now, again, this is quite common to us as teachers because when we try to prepare our classrooms in the past, we see to it that our classroom is conducive for learning. All the more important in an online platform as well. So when you try to design an online environment, you must see to it that your environment is conducive not only for you, but for your students as well. So again, that entails the lighting, the audio quality, even the data capacity or stability that you are working on. See to it that your data provider is actually active during that time because there are instances that your data provider is not actually working for you. It is working against you. So it's like Murphy's law all over again. That when something bad happens, it usually turns out to be bad along the way. So hopefully that will not be the case in your respective stations. Again, you must see to it that your working environment is conducive for learning and is adequate working space as well. Fourth one, you have to innovate and stimulate discussions. Now, there are teachers out there, I know this for a fact because I have been in the field for quite some time, that tend to rely and focus on the features of the online applications. They tend to be astounded by the techiness, if you pardon my use of the term or usage of the term, they tend to dwell on that features rather than stimulate discussions to their students. Again, please bear in mind that all of these media applications are a means to our end. We must not take for granted that we must incorporate our higher order thinking skills type of questioning to our students. We must give them trigger questions in order to come up with a certain quality response. And again, as teachers, we have this challenge to innovate. So we tend to not dwell on the usual approach as well. Fifth one, communicate regularly. Now, when we say communicate regularly, this is not actually applicable only when you are online. You can communicate actually to your students even offline. So you can call them, you can even talk to them. We have this thing called asynchronous education wherein you can communicate with them despite the fact that they are not actively online during that time. So communication is the key in order to come up with a successful online learning experience. Motivate your students. There are students out there, as what I've told you, that are avoiders. They tend to shy away from online technology. And so this is a challenge to each and every teacher out there on how to motivate your students to accept and embrace this kind of new normal. I know this is very hard because of some factors that we must take into consideration, like financial, religious upbringing. There are students out there who are not actually motivated to do that one because of their religious upbringing, and so on and so forth. Now, as a teacher, it's up to you now to decide how will you attack this type of dilemma in order to motivate your students. The seventh one, you ask for help and feedback. Now, asking for help doesn't actually diminish your capability as a teacher. It is quite actually encouraged to ask help from your colleagues and even from your students with regards to the application of this new technology that we have. Seek feedback from your students. Try to ask them, class, how was it? How was the experience? Is this platform okay for you? Do you have any platforms that you would try to suggest that we can actually work in the next session? So you can ask your students and even your colleagues as well. Again, it doesn't diminish your capability as a teacher. Moreover, here are some simple tips for better online teaching. First is to record your lectures as much as possible and don't stream them. I know this is counterintuitive because we do streaming right now, but then again, it is quite encouraged that when you do online learning platforms for the first time, and since you are located in a place wherein data is not actually that stable, it is preferred to record your lectures. The streaming capacity is quite unstable, especially in our case here in the Philippines. There are so many factors to consider out there, may it be geographical or economic or political factors. But then again, in order for you to deliver your um, painstaking design or lessons, you have to record as much as possible. Show your face. There are teachers out there who feel apprehensive in doing this type of platform because they are not used to showing their face in a virtual setup. Even myself, for a fact, is not that very confident in facing the camera, and because it is quite new to us, right? So, but then again, there are several studies out there that showed that it is quite effective in doing online platform teaching or online teaching platform to show your face so that the students can actually see your reactions. The students can actually hear your affirmations or see your um, uh, questions in your mind, kung reflect or what, right? So show your face as much as possible. That's greatly encouraged. All right. The third one, keep videos short. Now, when I say short, it doesn't mean a 60-minute video. You can perhaps go with a 15-minute video presentation. This is to address the idea that most, if not all, of our students have this tendency to be focused on a certain topic within a 15-minute range. So you can do that one. Now, if you try to ask me, sir, what if my lesson requires 1 hour of video presentation? What will I do with it? So you can actually chop your 1 hour videos into a 15-minute video presentation. This is again to cater the needs of our students, wherein they tend to focus only within that 15-minute range. Right? You test out the slides. Again, this is again part of the so-called preparation in advance. You have to test out whether the slides can actually streamed visibly by your students. Maybe you can try it out with your colleagues first. You can practice this one in advance just to know whether your planned slides are really doing their job for you. Use existing resources, right? So, as what we have learned in our previous presentation yesterday, there are so many applications out there that you can utilize. You can even use tutorials, online tutorials in YouTube for you to approach this kind of learning experience. But there is a warning here. You are allowed to use those resources, those teaching resources, but see to it that they are open access, because there are videos out there that are restrictive in a sense that you have to acknowledge the authors or the creators before you are allowed to use it. So I guess YouTube is very much open for using their online tutorials or online lessons as long as you cite the URL, if I'm not mistaken. Right? You give specific instructions to your students. Now, we have this tendency as teachers to give a generic type of instruction. Maybe because we are not yet attuned to what will be the outcome of your planned lesson. So we tend to give generic instructions. But in this case, it is a must that you must give specific instructions to your students. Again, this is a different ball game, a different format that we usually do. In the past, we tend to clarify our instructions to our students anytime because they can approach us. But right now, after the end of your online lesson, then I guess the students will have the difficulty of approaching you, especially those students who have a limited means of doing data communication. So as much as possible, utilize the time that you manage to use and give specific instructions. This is pertaining to your lesson, activity, and even your assignments. Provide interactive activities. Again, this reflects to the concept that how will the students interact with their fellow students and even with you as their teacher. There are so many applications out there that you can utilize in order to promote interactive or interacting means. There are virtual laboratories if you are trying to teach science in order for those students of yours to interact with those virtual apparatus or applications or tools. You can also have online question formats, leaderboards, kumbaga, and there are so many out there that you can try. Later on, my fellow presenters will also be presenting several applications as well. Right. The ninth one, you set reasonable expectations. Now, as teachers, we tend to overly expect that our students can really give us what we expect. Right? So we tend to say that the students are very much attuned to the online platform, and so there's no reason for them to not submit this kind of demand that we have. But no, that is a big no-no for us. So we must set expectations or tasks to those students of ours at their own level. Do not assume that our students can really be at par with our expectations. So set it at a reasonable level. So, for example, if you want to let your students submit to you a certain video presentation, give them enough time to prepare. Do not give them an overnight or a 2-day preparation for a 1-hour video presentation output. So be reasonable in letting your students do their specific tasks. 10th one, use auto-checking to measure attendance. Right. So gone are the days that we have to really cite each name of the students online because data is very much crucial in this case. We must be very sensitive to the fact that not all students have a postpaid plan in their vicinity. Most of them tend to load up just to connect with you. And so there's no need for you to dwell a little bit longer on checking their attendance. There are media applications out there that you can use to auto check their attendance. 11th, use group communication carefully. Now, this is quite sensitive for a fact that most of our students right now tend to screenshot their conversation, not only in their respective group, but also with their teachers as well. So as a teacher who is new to this online platform, be very careful in communicating with your students. Be very wary on using the terminologies because sometimes students tend to misinterpret those words. So it's different when you say something vocally or orally rather than doing it in a group chat or post it in your Facebook. So be very careful. Let students take control. So we know for a fact that students right now, in general, are very much adept and attuned to doing this kind of online initiative or endeavor. And so let them do the decision. Let them do the practice. Let them do the maneuvers of it. So if you are a teacher is quite new in doing Google or Zoom, then if you have a student or a group of students who are very much attuned with it, then let them take control. And you as a teacher could serve as a facilitator only at that time. So why not use their skills, their innate skills, to your advantage? Again, this goes back to the age-old adage that if you can't beat them, join them, right? Don't hide your feelings. Now, I know for a fact that this is quite hard for some of the teachers out there to show their weakness to their students. So don't be ashamed in letting your students know that you are quite new to this platform, that you have a minimum idea in utilizing a certain media application. Be very open to your students, and who knows, your students out there are actually waiting for you to approach them or to tap them in order to assist you in your learning environment. Repeat. So when I say repeat, this is actually pertaining to the concept of doing a certain media platform. So for example, if you decide as a class to use Google Meet or Zoom, so try to use it again on the next session. Do not use applications only for a one-shot preparation. In order to come up with a mastery level for this application or media application, you have to do it all over again. Repeat it, and you will see that as you go along, there are improvements that will turn out. Right? So we're getting there. Here are the 5 ways to make your online classrooms more interactive. Now, we must see to it again that interactivity or interaction between students and students are a must in an online learning environment. So here are some ways. Integrate real-time interaction. Again, this goes back to the fact that it's really effective that you are actively online during your lessons. I know there is this thing called asynchronous education wherein you can actually do um, replies to your students later on, but it is a known fact that it is quite advantageous on your part to really interact with your students real time. So why not do it immediately when there is someone or a student of yours who is trying to ask you questions or clarifications about a certain topic? Again, this is to correct misconceptions immediately. Secondly, get creative with discussion boards. So there are discussion boards or applications out there that the students can utilize. You can set this one up actually for the students of yours to post their questions, and you can actually get on with it later on and answer it at your own pace. So be creative in utilizing this type of approach. Maximize engagement with non-task interaction. So when I say non-task interaction, this pertains to those skills or activities that are not actually connected to your lesson, but somehow played a crucial role towards a successful output or outcome. For example, if you are teaching a certain topic and your students try to ask you about a certain feature of that platform during your lesson, feel free to address that one as well. This is a learning experience for the both of the type of people involved in the learning environment. So when someone asks you, sir or ma'am, can I record this conversation of ours through Zoom or Google Meet? You try to talk about it. If you're not familiar with it, ask someone from your class if they know how to do it. So all of those things, those non-task interactions can actually be utilized by you and your students in the long run. Use multiple communication tools. So again, you are not limited to actually just using Facebook. You can actually use what else? You can actually use emails. You can actually use Vibers. There are so many similar social media platforms out there that you can utilize in order to promote communication among your students. So don't limit yourselves. Have a plan around the tool. So again, this goes back to what I've said a while ago, that it pays to have a plan in advance. So if you are trying to decide to utilize a certain media application, you have to really plan it out in advance. Of course, you have to identify its strengths, what are the capabilities of that tool or application, and what are the possible weaknesses or problems that may arise when you use that kind of tool. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not saying that there is a thing called the best application tool. There's no such thing as the best application tool out there, because regardless of what tool you will use, it's all about how you utilize it in advance, how you plan it in advance, and how you deliver it efficiently and properly. So don't compare yourselves to other teachers as well. If teacher A, your fellow teacher, utilizes a semi high tech approach, then don't feel bad on yourself. It's all right. Pace yourself on it. This is not a race, actually, it's a marathon. So we have to take into consideration our individual differences as well, because not all teachers are alike. So some teachers tend to do complex applications because they have the know-hows. But if you evaluate yourself as a type of teacher which is not that techy enough, then don't be ashamed in using what is convenient on your part. Right? So what are the basic do's and don'ts of conducting online classes? So if you are very much familiar with some of the etiquettes in doing online classes, now here are some additional infos that you can actually do. All right. Collect email addresses and contact numbers of all the students and create a group of students in the LMS or Learning Management System or Learners Management System through which you want to conduct online classes. Now, it pays to have a repertoire or a list of contact numbers and email addresses of your students, because in the long run, when you try to connect with them, maybe in the near future, those email addresses and contact numbers that you have gathered are actually helpful in doing that certain activity. There are applications out there that enables you to contact your students through email. And so having a list of email addresses from your students is a must. Of course, you can utilize several LMS out there. You can have Edmodo or even Google Classroom for you to utilize this type of approach. Prepare yourself before the actual online class, and it is best to rehearse offline before your class. Actually, I have been doing this also prior to the conduct of this session. I tried to talk uh, despite the fact that there is nobody listening to me, just to know whether my appearance and my audio is working properly. So we may never know that along the way, you are actually expecting that your streaming is okay, but then in the long run, it's not. Just like what happened a while ago. I was thinking that my slides are working properly, but then again, because of some technical glitches, somehow my slides are not moving. So again, it pays to do it properly online before to do it beforehand rather than do it in an instant. So it's all about preparation actually. Check all the necessary equipment and services like your internet, laptop, camera, etc. before your session. So this is a no-brainer for all of us teachers. When you try to do online learning platforms or online approaches, you have to see to it that your data provider is at par or is working properly. Make sure that you have paid your bills and there are no prior announcement from your data providers that there will be some signal interruptions along the way. Of course, do not schedule your classes if you know that there is already a pre-announced signal interruption from your data providers. It's a suicide on your part. But then again, you may want to ask me that, sir, there are often times or there are instances wherein our data providers tend to really be very unstable in their data providing mechanism. So what will I do? So again, it's all about backups. It's all about preparation in advance. Not only the internet is what you will be checking, you have to check also your laptop, your gadgets, your camera beforehand. If you are new with your laptop or if your laptop is quite new, you have to really get along with it. Try to know more about the capabilities of your laptop. If your laptop is not yours and it is from something from your colleague, practice beforehand. Try to learn the shortcut keys, the mechanisms, and the hidden commands there in your gadget. Camera as well, try to set the settings. Try to adjust if you must. If you are not very familiar with the approaches in using your camera, you can again go with Google and go with YouTube and try to um, approach or learn online tutorials about it. All right. Be ready with the assignments that you want to share after your online class, like a list of questions related to the topic. So again, it pays to have a list of questions that you want to speak about. It also pays to have a list of topics or outline that you want to share with your students. So, but then again, if you are those type of teachers who are more spontaneous in doing their lessons, then do it at your own convenience. You may also ask one or two students to be volunteers and help you pass important information about the online session to other students in the group if required. So personally speaking, I have been doing this on my class because most of the time I tend to be not so online always. But there are students of mine who tend to dwell in the virtual world regularly and all the time. So I tend to usually ask help from them. I will ask them that, can you somehow please pass this information to all your classmates since you have the mechanism to do so. Again, don't be ashamed in asking for help, right? Another one, give your students all the instructions required so that your online class runs smoothly and is fruitful. So this goes back to the idea that you must set specific instructions to your students. Be very, very specific and do not give vague instructions that will somehow create misinterpretations among your students. During online sessions, give proper breaks so that the students will have the time to think about the topic and, of course, to allow them to frame their questions or doubts in the long run. So, do not expect that your students can actually do what you ask them to do immediately. So, give them enough time to do it. When I say enough time, siguro not so much like 13 minutes. 15 minutes will do for that, depending on what type of task you are trying to give them. If you are fishing for ideas or questions, give it time, because sometimes students tend to dwell a lot longer in conceptualizing their questions in their minds, right? So do not assume that your students could give you immediately the feedback that you are trying to fish out. It is better to keep your class short, as what I've said a while ago, or as a series of short sessions. Now, this depends on various parameters like the topic, the participation of the students, and the teaching plan. So again, if your lesson requires you to have a 1 hour duration, you can chop your video into several 15-minute mini videos. And you can actually design a lesson to incorporate those mini videos along the way. So feel free to do it. You can do creative means in order to attack this type of dilemma. You may ask a few open-ended questions related to the topic during the online session to make students more responsive. So open-ended questions usually tend to go within the realm of the critical thinking phase. So, as a teacher, we are very much encouraged to throw HATS question to our students. Not only HATS, but also those questions that tend to dwell a little bit longer on their minds. So, as a teacher, we have to really see to it that these HATS questions should not be taken for granted as well. Yes, it can be time consuming, and yes, it is quite daunting to most teachers. But then again, that is the concept of evolution or adaptation rather. We have to get used to it because in the long run, the product of it will be cherished by not only you but also the students themselves. Encourage students not only to ask their queries or doubts related to the topic, but also to answer the questions asked by their peers. So you may set up an online discussion forum for this. So this goes back to the idea that you have to see to it that your students could interact with other students. So give them time to ask questions with their fellow classmates. The teacher right now is actually encouraged to be a facilitator rather than a sage in the center. So gone are the days during the old era wherein the teacher is the wise one and the students are just empty cups waiting for some inputs from the teacher to be filled up. So the teacher right now is very much encouraged to be the facilitator at the side. And this goes back to the concept of constructivist approach. Post the assignments just after your session and announce the details in your session. Now, this might seem quite a bit ironic or counterintuitive because some, if not all of the teachers, tend to do the announcement of assignments and even the details of the assignments after the session. But in this case, you're actually allowed to talk about the details of your assignments in advance. Now, what's the reason behind this? This is to see to it that there are no misconceptions along the way. There are no misinterpretations along the way. So as soon as the teacher posts the assignments later on, everything is already cleared out. All those prior confusions have been corrected already. And so your assignments will run smoothly as possible since you have already talked about it in advance during your session. All right. Take feedbacks from the students because at this point it will help you learn their point of view about the session. So what I've said, it is never destructive on your part as a teacher to seek help from your students. Ask them uh, whether the platform that you have done is useful for them or appealing to them. Try to be open with them. Maybe, who knows, di ba? The students could actually suggest one application that is pretty much better compared to what you have done or you have used. So again, we have to accept the idea or the fact that our students in general are very much attuned to this kind of scenario. And so what better way to approach this um, initiative or endeavor than to seek help from the students themselves? So here are the don'ts that we must not do. Don't be too formal, especially if you are familiar with the students. Now, again, this is counterintuitive or ironic on a part that as teachers, we tend to have this boundary within our students. Now, yes, it's okay with to make friends with our students, but then again, they have to really remember that we are their teachers in the first place. But in this case, it is greatly encouraged that you must not be too formal with them. Why? Because they are not in their respective classrooms facing you physically. So if you tend to be so formal with them, they tend to shy away from the platform. They tend to be very negative with the platform itself because their teacher is very strict and formal at the same time. So be friendly in a way that your students can really approach you anytime and try to consider that what you are doing is an experiment for both of you, the students and the teacher. So it's just like playing around with this kind of techie stuff, and all of you are trying to discover the positive approaches and the advantages of doing such platforms. All right. Don't postpone or cancel a class without any strong reason. Now, there are instances that we are actually trying to schedule a certain class scenario wherein we utilize online platform applications or online applications. But eventually, along the way, you feel that you are not yet ready enough to do it. And so, out of the blue, you just decided to postpone or cancel that session. So yes, it could be done, but this is actually a no-no for us because we try to understand also the place of the students, their perspective. You put yourselves in their shoe. You put yourself in their shoes. What if you have been planning for a certain online session for a long time and they have been readying it already? They have already asked their parents about it. They have asked load for it. And then out of the blue, their teacher just canceled it. Di ba medyo it's a little bit disappointing on their part. So as much as possible, don't postpone or cancel your class without any strong reason. So if your reason is that you are not very much confident with the approach or the platform, then I guess that's not reason enough for you to cancel it. Again, go back to those suggestions. You can actually ask or seek help from your students for assistance or even your colleagues. Right, so we're almost done. Here are some extra stuffs that can be included in your lessons. Now, this is actually quite helpful, not only to the teacher participants, but also to those teachers who were identified to conduct demonstration teachings later on. So this is greatly encouraged because right now we are actually universally in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. So during your online class, you may request students to wash their hands properly at regular intervals. So it doesn't hurt actually to remind them once in a while to wash their hands, to do hand washing protocols properly, and to use alcohols along the way to remind them that before they eat, they should wash their hands properly all the time so as to avoid this pandemic that we are experiencing right now or mitigate this pandemic that we are in right now. You may also share a template or poster regarding precautionary steps for COVID-19 as published by the World Health Organization or the government in your tutorial or video. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to really integrate awareness on this COVID-19 pandemic. Let me also add that it is also quite helpful for us to share some information about these vaccines to our students because I know for a fact that there are people out there who tend to be very wary or negative with regards to the vaccination program of our government. So this is actually your platform or your chance to incorporate this in your lessons. You can use infographics, you can share this to your classmates, to your students, and you can let your students share this to their families as well. Moreover, you can also utilize integrating the concept of the Sustainable Development Plan of the World Health Organization because this has been their dream in the long run to incorporate the sustainability development goals for all sectors in a certain country. So this is to address poverty, this is to address food shortage and the like. So you can check this in their website for further information. Of course, it doesn't hurt to share some positive quotes during your lessons or class. So you can actually leave some quotes right now or during your lessons. Even though it's not related to your topic, it's all right because who knows, those positive quotes that you have done will greatly impact your students or some of your students in the long run. So here are some few and final reminders that we have to consider when we try to do online teaching. Always remember that simplicity is key. And if I'm not mistaken, this is actually reiterated by my fellow presenter yesterday that you have to keep it short and simple. Yeah, with regards to your presentation. Not only on your presentation, but also on your approach in dealing with this kind of platform. Establish a digital home base. So this pertains to the SLMs and your Google Classroom or your Edmodo platforms that you can utilize along the way. Again, this is for the repository of your students' submissions, outputs, and the likes. Prioritize longer student-driven assignments. So yes, there is an advantage if you will give them short assignments, but then again, you can also utilize 1 week long assignments that integrates all those subjects that they have been studying or doing. Actually, this is reminded to us by the DepEd order on academic is that it is quite encourage that we must integrate all the subjects as much as possible in our assignments. This is in order for our students to really cope up with all those topics that we have been giving them along the way. So individual touch points are game changers as well. So don't forget that we are humans, we are individuals, we are spatio-temporal beings. So yes, we are required to teach students. We are expected to teach lessons to our students, but it also pays to give individual comments or individual motivation to our respective students as well. Try to use their first name as much as possible because you may never know when you try to do that, that student will be very much motivated in the long run because their teacher have mentioned his name positively and whatnot. So with all those things in mind, here's the question that I want to throw to each and everyone. Are you ready now to teach online? So again, I know for a fact that the concept of online teaching is quite new, if not to all of us. But then again, that is the concept of adaptation. And this is actually the genes that were transferred to us by our ancestors in the past. And this is our survival instinct actually, that when we tend to accept something which is quite new, we tend to shy away from it. But then again, it is our challenge to adapt from it and rise above it. So as teachers, we are very much expected to be very flexible and open-minded with regards to the different technological advances that our society is giving us. So I guess that ends my presentation this morning. Here are some references for you to dwell or delve. You can check this one out if you want to dig deeper into the topic that I have presented this morning. And with that, I will say thank you and good morning once again.
Elfie, for this very informative sharing of your topic. Thank you so much that we get to be reminded of preparing our lesson, mastering the technology that we could ever use for our online class, setting up adequate working environment, innovating and stimulating discussions, communicating regularly, etc. But we have here a suggestion, or I might consider this a query coming from Mr. De La Rey Florentino. Let me read this to you. Hello, Sir Alfie. Thank you for the insightful session, of course, through your brilliance. Will these media applications work also for offline session or classes in lieu of the unavailability of web connectivity, particularly in the remote areas? If not, kindly suggest to other alternative mechanism or suitable offline media application. God bless. Sir Alfie?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. With regards to your questions, there are actually media applications out there that can be utilized offline. I don't know if my fellow presenters later on will cite this, but most of those media applications actually have this thing called offline versions. Now, if I were to share something, especially in my case, I am teaching science, there are virtual laboratory applications that could be utilized even without internet connectivity. So it depends upon your preferences po, sir, if what will be the best format for you to use. It's all about searching the internet, searching for similar applications out there. Again, that ed acknowledges the fact that internet connectivity is a problem in our location, in our country. And so, hence the term asynchronous education, dun po nanggaling yung term na yon, that we can actually do this type of platform despite the fact that there is no internet connectivity. So meron po yun, sir. I don't know if Google Meet can use this one, but there are similar applications like that also that can utilize it without even using or connecting to the internet. Yun po.
In follow up to that question, You said also, Sir Alfie, that we must master the technology
Yes,
offline
yeah.
or online.
Online.
So,
Mhm.
do you have any suggestion to our viewers today on how are they going to achieve mastery of the technology that they prefer to use?
Sure, ma'am, sure. Actually, I will share something that I have been doing for quite some time already because I am the type of teacher who usually try to explore new stuffs in the internet. Actually, I tend to focus my time in the internet more rather than in the real world. I don't know if this is good or bad. So my suggestion is you have to really go to some tutorials out there that teaches you how to master this kind of media applications. Now, don't get me wrong, you can actually focus only on one media at a time or medium at a time. You can never monopolize everything. So if you want to try a certain media application, my suggestion is master it one at a time. And there are so many tutorials out there. I don't have to promote the bloggers, but there are so many out there that you could utilize. Or you could even tell your fellow teachers out there in your faculty to do this in your Slack session, your Slack, and practice the skills needed for this type of application. There are teachers out there who are very much willing to share their expertise, and I guess it is always effective when someone, a physical someone, is there who is teaching you rather than watching it only on the tutorials online. So pwede ganun, ma'am. Yeah. One medium at a time.
So much. I hope it satisfies the question of Sir Delaray Florentino, one of the school heads watching live via our Facebook page. Thank you so much, Sir Delaray, for your queries. Um, we are going to proceed to our next topic, but before that, there's another question here being raised. It's all about using existing resources. By the way, Sir Alfie, we are very thankful for all the tips that you have given us, like recording. We are not going to record lectures, or we are not allowed to stream our students. And of course, we should show our faces during online class. And we keep video presentation as much as possible, a maximum of 15 minutes. Yes, thank you so much for that reminder, sir. But one of the questions would be related to using existing resources. Do you suggest any way that we could do to prevent possible infringements? Like, we all know some resources are copyrighted from an original author.
Yeah, there are some actually ways that we can actually address copyright infringement possibilities, ma'am. If you want to utilize a certain video application or tutorial, especially in the YouTube format, you can always use or cite the URL that you are trying to use. Or if you have that time, you can approach and email the creators, the content creators, because if I am not mistaken, content creators really like to be cited in their works. They tend to really encourage that people will use their videos. So it's an advantage on their part. So yeah, you can cite those videos, those URLs, or if you want, you could also use open access, the public domain. If I'm not mistaken, there are so many pictures, videos out there that has no copyright already because there are some reasons out there that the author is dead for a long time. The copyright concept is not applicable anymore. So you can always check the public domain. So siguro I can share the word internetarchive.org. Internetarchive.org is actually a platform wherein you can download most of those public domain stuffs. So may it be videos, pictures, even mga books and others. So yeah, there are so many out there. But if the authors are plainly or clearly claiming their rights on it, so it doesn't hurt to just cite them and ask for permission. You can email them because they have their emails there just below the video, if I'm not mistaken. So it's all about citation. Yun lang po.
Yes, thank you so much, Sir Alfie. And of course, it's way better if we could have our original pieces, right?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it?
Mm.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am,
So thank
because
you
we
so much,
are
sir, for also the extra stuff that you told us. We get to forget to wash our hands and all the precautions. Thank you so much. So I think that's all for Sir Alfie. I hope you've learned a lot from Sir Alfie's presentation. So thank you so much, sir. I'll see you
okay, ma'am.
later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So our next topic is about acquiring improved skills on utilization and operation of WebEx application. To introduce the next speaker, allow me to call in Ma'am Shara Gay C. Licodine of Padada National High School.
My courtesy to all the heads and leaders of offices and chiefs of sections, the division of Davao do Sur, headed by our own schools division superintendent, Dr. Nelson C. Lopez, to all the participants, virtual viewers, to all of us, good morning. Our next speaker is a division writer in lesson exemplar and strategic or the strategic intervention material or SIM, a regional and a national writer for EPP, PLE, teacher 3, and a very active grade 4 classroom teacher of Bansalan Central Elementary School. To discuss the topic, utilization and operation of WebEx application, help me welcome Mr. Ryan Ramos Padillos.
Good morning, fellow educators of Davao del Sur. So for my topic this morning is all about the WebEx. So for our session outline for this presentation, how to access WebEx, the features of WebEx, how to schedule a meeting, how to start a meeting, how to invite the students. So what is video conferencing? So I'm going to reiterate about the video conferencing definition. A way to meet face-to-face from everywhere. Video conferencing is a form of telecommunications in which participants join online meetings using devices with built-in cameras. It may also be referred to as video telephony, video calling, video chat, or web conferencing. WebEx background information. WebEx is a Cisco product that consists of two items, the WebEx Teams and the WebEx Meetings. So 200 participants can join a conference initiated by the WebEx Teams, and WebEx user can create unlimited spaces. In a recent report by Infotech, surveying real users, the Cisco WebEx was rated highly satisfactory by, for ease of implementation, 85%, 86% for quality features, 84% for usability and intuitiveness, and 85% for breadth of features. Now, how to access the WebEx? If you have mobile phones like Android and iOS, you can download the WebEx meetings through the application store or the Google Play. And if you are using a laptop or a desktop, you can download the Cisco WebEx desktop application, or you can directly type the www.webex.com at web browser. You can use the web browser like Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, and Microsoft Edge. Now, at this point in time, I am going to use my desktop or laptop to introduce to you the Cisco WebEx and how to access the Cisco WebEx. So, just type www.ciscowebex.com at the web browser, and it will be directed to the Cisco WebEx portal. As you have observed in the Cisco WebEx portal, you can see a join meeting, a download, a sign in, and start for free. But if you are to join a meeting, just click join a meeting, and you will be prompted by this screen. The join a meeting, you're going to enter the meeting information like the meeting ID and the password. Now, if you're going to signing in, if you have already an account with the Cisco WebEx, you can sign in by clicking the sign in or sign up. Then you are going to enter your email address. But if it is your first time, you are going to click the start for free, and you will be directed to this screen. Sign up for free, no credit card needed, no commitment. Just type your email address. Now, this time, I'm going to use my personal email address. NAYR0487@gmail.com. Then please, I'm going to click the sign up. Then you will receive an email from your Gmail account. Then you will receive a 6-digit confirmation code. Then you are going to type the 6-digit confirmation code in the dialog box. Then your new account is now ready. Then you have to check your inbox again to get started with your Cisco WebEx application. Now you will receive a letter from the Cisco WebEx welcoming you that you are now a registered user of Cisco WebEx. At the same time, you can create your password, or you are going to create new password or confirm your new password. So, in making your new password, you have to remember the following. Must contain at least 8 characters, at least 2 letters, caps lock, big letter or small letter, a mix of uppercase and a lowercase, at least 1 number, must not contain your name, username, or company, or your last 3 passwords. Easy to guess words, any characters repeated 3 or more times. So, we're going now to learn about some features of the WebEx. Now, as you can see in my personal portal, there's a picture on the left part of my portal, my picture. First thing you are going is to upload your profile photo for your personal information. Now, there are 4 tabs, 5 tabs can be seen in our portal. First is a dashboard, the messaging, the teams, the calls, and the meetings. Now, if you're going to click the dashboard, you can see a start meeting, schedule, and some video resources that can be used in scheduling a meeting, joining a meeting, how to start a meeting, and how to record a meeting. Now, let's proceed to the second tab, the messaging. In this tab, you can share your files with your students or pupils. At the same time, you can chat with your pupils and students. And for the third tab, the teams, you can create 200 teams in this tab in your Cisco WebEx portal. Now, the calls, you can see the history of your, your meetings and your completed meetings. And your meetings, you can see here the upcoming and your completed meetings. And you can also schedule a meeting for your future classes. Now let's go back to the dashboard. So in the dashboard, you can see your My Personal Meeting Room. If you are going to create or start a meeting immediately, you can copy paste the personal meeting link and you are going to send it to your pupils and students. Now, how to schedule a meeting? So it is an advanced scheduling your meeting classes with your pupils or meeting classes with your co-teachers. So you're going to go to the dashboard, then click the schedule, and you are going to type the meeting topic, the science. Like for example, what I have here is the science class 4, and the meeting password, this password will be sent to your students, and the date and the time. And you can also tag your students or your pupils by using their file name or your, not file name, their email address in the dialog box in the attendees. Then you are going to click Save as Template. Now, how to start a meeting? So, just go back to the dashboard once again, and you are going to click Start a Meeting. Then you will be directed to the Cisco WebEx meeting application, the Open Cisco WebEx Meetings. Then you are going to click that, and you will be directed to your personal room. So this is now my personal room. As you can see, there are buttons at the bottom of my personal room. The mute, the stop video, the start meeting, connect to video system, audio, use computer audio. You can use your computer audio at the same time. You can use also your headset or earphone for your as your computer, as your audio for your meetings. And you can test your speaker and your microphone if it is doing well. Now, start meeting. Just click the start meeting, and this will be this will be shown in your screen. So you have the mute, the stop video, the share screen, and the record, the action button, and the end session button. At the top part of my portal or my personal room, as you can see, the menu bars like the file, the edit, the share, the view, the audio or the video, the participant, the meeting, and the breakout section and sessions and help. Now, if you're going to share your screen, you can click the share button. Then you will be directed to your windows. You can select what windows you are going to share to your students or pupils. Now, if you're going to record your session or your meetings, you are going to click the record, and you will be directed to your documents. Then you are going to type the file name, then click Save. Now, in this button, you can see the reactions about raising the hands of your pupils, the emoticons like happy, sad, thumbs up, thumbs down. And you're using the computer for audio. You can switch your audio, you can use your built-in audio, and you can also use your earphone or your headset. And you can connect the video system like you have your separate video. You can use it by connecting it with this button. And you can also lock your meeting. You can invite and remind your pupils and students about your meeting. And you are going to copy the meeting link and send it to your pupils and students. And you can also enable breakout session. Later on, you are going to try how to create a breakout session. Now, at this point of time, we are going to try to use the breakout session. So just go back to the menu bars, and you are going to click the breakout session. And you will be directed to this dialog box wherein you are going to assign the host. You can be the host or you can have a co-host with your meeting. And you are going to add session. If you are going to create 4 sessions, 5 sessions, or many more sessions, you can do it. And you can also, in your breakout session, you can also select the number of participants in every session. So this time, I am going to select let participants choose any session, meaning that the participants can choose whether what session they are going to enter. Then you are going to click the start breaking session. So I have here, I created 4 session, the science 4, the math 4, the Filipino 4, and the English 4. And you are going now to click the start breakout session. So this is now the breakout session. Okay. So I enter the English class. So this is now the room for the English class session. Anytime you can leave the session and you are going to transfer to another session. So you are going to click the leave, but not the end all breaking session. Only the host can end all the breakout session. Always remember this. If you are going to transfer to other session, you have to leave your previous session and you are going to transfer to another session. Then if you are the host, like for example, you are giving time to your students or pupils to discuss about things with 30 minutes only or 5 to 10 minutes only. So you will be the one to end the breakout sessions. And after that, after the 10-minute or the 5-minute session, breakout session, they will be directed immediately, automatic, to the main session. So, if you are through with your meeting in your conference or your class, if you are going to end the meeting or the session, you are going to click the button with a red, then it will be directed to end your session. Thank you for listening. These are just the basic information and the steps on how to use the Cisco WebEx. But if you are going to explore more about Cisco WebEx, you are going to subscribe the premium, that's so-called the WebEx Pro. So you can explore more about the Cisco WebEx. About our Cisco, to God all the glory.
Manage a virtual meeting and online class. So, any question from the audience? Do we have any question from the audience? Okay, so we have 480 participants coming right here live via our Facebook accounts, or Facebook pages, and YouTube channel. So we are trying to collect some questions coming from Heidi Auyan. Ma'am Heidi is asking,
Okay. Thank you so much for your question, Ma'am Heidi. So similar to Zoom meeting, you can have 40 participants with 40 minutes per session. So if you're going to extend time and extend participants, you can subscribe the premium, the Cisco WebEx Pro. Thank you. O, sa note,
And thank you very much for such an answer, Sir Ryan. I hope that the viewer coming from the other line is satisfied with the answer. So here we have another question right here in our set. Is WebEx a free app, and how long can we use WebEx for free?
you can use WebEx for free for 30 days, free trial. And if you're going to subscribe, as I said a while ago, you can subscribe the premium or the pro by buying it for per month. You can have at least the pricing for the WebEx Cisco 279 per month.
Okay, so last but not the least, this question is coming from one of us here. What are the key differences between the usual app that we are using, like Google Meet, Zoom? How are these going to get a difference with respect to WebEx that you are introducing to us? And which do you think is way better than the other?
For me, since the platforms that we are using right now, the WebEx, it is easy to manipulate, just like with a Zoom. So there is no difference between the WebEx and the Zoom or the Google Meet, as long as it can give learning to the students as well.
Yes naman po, sir. There are several unique features in every application or in every platform, and it depends in whatever purpose that you are going to make use of. So thank you so much, that was Sir Ryan. Thank you so much for such an informative presentation. Thank you for introducing to us another platform where we can manage our meetings and online classes, aside from Zoom and Google Meet. So now, let's proceed to our next topic. Our next speaker was first introduced yesterday, discussing about utilization of Picker Wheel, Kahoot, and Google Forms. Today, he's back with us to discuss his knowledge about utilization and operation of Google Slides and Pear Deck application. It's an add-on for any alternative or interactive presentation. So once again, help me welcome Sir Maurice Des Bacaling, Teacher 3 of Santa Cruz National High School.
Good morning to all of you who are watching us today, especially to those who our school heads and our teacher participants for this morning session. So today I am tasked to to discuss to you the utilization of Google Slides and Peer Deck add-on for interactive presentation. So for our first topic, this will be Google Slides, and we will be talking or discussing on how to define Google Slides, how to access Google Slides, how to create, add, edit content, and how to present and share using Google Slides. So what is Google Slides? So Google Slides allow you to create, edit, and share presentations. So if you are familiar with Microsoft PowerPoint, this is just similar to Microsoft PowerPoint. However, Google Slides is an online presentation app wherein you can use this Google Slides directly if you are online. So you don't need to save from time to time because Google has this capacity to save directly your file to your Google Drive. So if you go anywhere or any place, if there's a connection, you can access your presentation. And aside from that, there is also one function of Google Slides is multiple people can work with the presentation at the same time. So you can share your presentation to your colleagues or to your co-teachers and then allow them to edit your presentation, comment about your presentation, and they can view also your presentation. So how to access Google Slides? So first, sign in to your Google account. And then use your personal account or Google account email. So I must advise you to use your personal email, not your DepEd account email. Because later, when I will be discussing to you the Peer Deck add-on, which is an additional feature for Google Slides, you can access, you need to use your personal account because if you are using the DepEd account, there's a tendency that you will not use the Peer Deck account, okay? So this is another way. Sign in to your Google account and then type slides.google.com. Then click Google Slides free online from the search option. And then step 4, select personal. So there are two choices, personal and business, but we will be using personal account because this is for free. Okay? So this is now the main page of Google Slides. So there are two parts, blank presentation and template gallery. So from the template gallery, you can find different kinds of pre-designed template that you can use. So you just have to modify, just like Microsoft PowerPoint. There are some pre-designed template that you can use. So how to create your presentation using Google Slides. So first, select blank or select from the template gallery. So after that, click the untitled presentation and type the desired file name for your presentation. So here in untitled presentation, you can type the file name. So automatically, the Google Slides will save your file from time to time. So you don't need to save your file. So no need to Control S to your presentation. So it will automatically save directly to your Google Drive. So how to add and edit content using Google Slides. So to add images, text, box, etc., click Insert and choose the different options you want to insert in your presentation. So same feature with the Microsoft PowerPoint. you have this standard toolbar and formatting toolbar, which you can add directly to your presentation. Step 2. So to edit images, shapes, or text box, use the tools in the formatting toolbar. So we have different tools for you to edit your pictures, shapes that you will add to your presentation. And then how to present and share your Google Slides. So all you have to do is to start your presentation, then click the present button in the upper right corner of your screen, or Control F5. So to share your presentation, this is actually the feature, the unique feature of Google Slides, because you can share your files to your colleagues, to your workmates, to your boss, if you want them to comment or to share their ideas about your presentation before you will have your final presentation. So step 3, you can select people that you want to share your presentation. So in this diagram, you can see the email address, and you can assign corresponding role of the user. So you can select viewer, meaning they can only view your presentation. They cannot edit or give comment to your presentation. Or commenter, so they can give comments about your presentation for the improvement of your slides or improvement. So they can comment. And then editor, so meaning you are giving your co-teachers or your school heads to edit your presentation. And then all you have to do is to send that to your colleagues or to your school heads. And now I will show you a video for you to have a glance of the present of how to do or to create Google Slides. Okay, are you ready? You can follow this while the video is playing. Okay. Okay, let's watch the video. Sir, video.
I will demonstrate to you the step-by-step procedure on how to access the Google Slides. Are you all ready? All right. So I will now share to you my screen. Okay, so the first thing that you have to do is to click Google Chrome or any browser. Type www.google.com. Next, you can type here Google Slides, or you can in the right corner of your browser, you can find here Google Apps. So once you click this button, you will find different applications of Google. So you can click directly Slides. By the way, make sure that you are currently logged in your Google account. Okay? So you can click directly Slides, or you can type here Google Slides. But for this demonstration, I will just use the search engine. Okay? So once you're done, go to Google Slides free online presentations for personal use, and then click. Now you have two options, and you have here personal and business. So all you have to do is to click personal, and then go to Google Slides. So this is now your Google Slides environment. So you have different options. So we have here start a new presentation. We have here blank and template gallery. So in the template gallery, there are so many options and they are categorized. So we have here personal, work, education. So these are pre-designed template. So you can use them, yeah, and you can select depending on your preferred design. So for this demonstration, I will just use blank presentation. Okay. So actually, Google Slides is the same as PowerPoint presentation. The only thing is that Google Slides allows you to save your files directly to your Google Drive. So when we say Google Drive, this is online storage. So you can save your files automatically. Yeah, and you can access it if there's an internet. So that's the advantage of using Google Slides. So the same, yeah, this is now the workspace of Google Slides. We have here file, edit, these are standard toolbars. And we also have formatting toolbar wherein you can format and create designs of your presentation. So in this area, you will see the themes. Yeah. I know most of you are aware and knows how to use PowerPoint presentation. So it's still the same. Like the difference is you can only save your files directly to your Google Drive and you don't need to transfer them using your USB. But later I will teach you how to convert your files, your Google Slides into PowerPoint presentations so that you can also save it to your USB or if there's some cases wherein you cannot use internet connection, so you can still download your files. Okay, so this is now the environment. So the same, if you want to add a new slides, just click the first slide, right click, and then you can add new slides. So for this presentation, we can use also templates. For example, I will be using this template. Okay. So I will just type here, sample presentation. And example, Maurice. And then, so for the next slides, I can write here, for example, subject, areas, example, entry to philosophy. Understanding, culture, politics. So, okay. So if you want to format, for example, the color, all you have to do is to select, and then you can use the formatting toolbar if you want. You can change the size, font style. If you want to have border dash. So color, same fill color if you want to add fill color. Yeah. line color. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to change the color, go to format options, size, position, drop shadow if you want to put shadows, and other options. You have more options here. Yeah, so you can change the color of the text. Or if you want to add photos or images, you can select photos you can upload from your computer, search the web from your drive, photos from URL or from your camera. For this demonstration, I will just use search the web. So it's really easy because you can search directly the images online. Yeah, from the Google image. For example, I will add here books. So you can directly just select the books that you want and then insert. So automatic. So all you have to do is to drag and then change, resize the image. Okay. So that's it. So the same as when you are creating your slides in the PowerPoint presentation. So once your PowerPoint is ready, you can present directly. You can also add different transitions. Yeah, for example, if you want to have transitions, yeah, you can fade, slide to right. So for example, dissolve, and I can say that I will apply this to all the slides. So now, if I'm ready, I can present my presentation. So just click present or start presentation, or you can use Control plus F5. And now you're ready to present. And that's it. Or if you want to share this to your colleagues, to your co-teachers, and you want them to comment about your presentation, all you have to do is to share this presentation. Click share. Since we didn't put the title, so all you have to do is to save sample presentation, and then share with people and groups. For example, you have some friends or your colleagues. So you can type and select people that you want to share your file. For example, I will select Alexander. So here in the right side, you will find editor, viewer, commenter. So what's the purpose of this? So these are options wherein you allow the recipient of the PowerPoints, the slides, to view. When we say viewer, the person who will receive this Google Slides can view only. So he cannot save or edit. While commenter, it will allow the person to comment, add comments to your slides, or if you want them to comment about your presentation, so they can put a comment about your slides. And editor, it means that they can download, they can edit or make some revisions about your presentation. Once you're done, you can write messages, and then you can send this to them. Just click send. Once you click this one, you can share your presentation to your colleagues or co-teachers. Okay, but for that, yeah, you can also, aside from that, you can also just copy the link and then share it to your group chat if you have some group chats. So you can copy the link and share it to them. So anyone can do something about your presentation if you share the link to them. Okay, so that's it. And aside from that, you can also download or convert your files or Google Slides to different kinds of extension. Yeah, for example, if you want your files to be converted to Microsoft PowerPoint, ODP, PDF file, JPEG or photos, PNG, yeah, plain text, scalable vector graphics. So these are options. So all you have to do is just click file and then download. So just select, for example, I want to download this into Microsoft PowerPoint so that I can use this on my presentation offline. When we say offline, like you're not using your internet or in your area, there's no internet connection. So you just have to download it. Then there you go. You save your presentation into PowerPoint presentation. Simple as that. So easy. So that's it. I hope you've learned something from Google Slides, and I hope this will be useful in your presentation or in your class. So later, I will demonstrate to you how to use the peer deck. Okay.
Okay, so there you have it, Google Slides. I hope you have learned something about how to use these Google Slides. So this time, I'm going to discuss to you the peer deck. So this is an add-on feature of Google Slides. So this is the best. I mean, for me, this is really the best feature of Google Slides, wherein you can interact and you can have interaction with your students using this peer deck. So what are our topics? So we will be discussing about what is peer deck add-on, how to install peer deck in your Google Slides, how to create your deck, how to present with peer deck add-on using Google Slides. So what is peer deck for Google Slides add-on? So it allows you to create interactive questions and formative assessments that you can add in your presentation. So these are the features. We have integrate with Google Tools, library templates, present and engage class. So later I will show you the different features of this peer deck add-on. So how to install Peer Deck in your Google Slides. So given that earlier I have discussed to you what is Google Slides and how to use the Google Slides. So if, for example, you already have your presentation, all you have to do is to add on. So meaning you go to the formatting tool, the standard toolbar, find add-ons, and then click Get Add-ons. So from the Get Add-ons, a dialog box will appear. Select Peer Deck for Google Slides and then click Install. So as you can see, there are a lot of add-ons or these are additional features of Google Slides that you can add, and you can use this in your presentation. So, but for this demonstration, I mean, we will use this peer deck, okay? Okay, so how to install? Just once you click the install, a dialog box will appear. Select continue. After that, once you select continue, another dialog box will appear. So choose an account by clicking the Gmail account. So I advise you not to use your email account, because Peer Deck will only allow the personal Gmail account. So if you will be using your DipEd account, there's a tendency that you will not be able to use the functions of this Peer Deck. Okay? Once you select Gmail account, another dialog box will appear, and then click Allow. So once you select Allow, another dialog box will appear informing you that Peer Deck for Google Slides has been installed. Then click Done. So this will, once you already installed the Peer Deck add-on, so once you go to Get Add-ons, you will see there Peer Deck for Google Slides add-on, and then click Open Peer Deck add-on. So this, once you already installed the Peer Deck, in the left side of the corner of your presentation, you will see the Peer Deck slide bar. So there, you will see the first feature of Peer Deck, which is the slide library. So these are customized from a wide variety of interactive slide templates that you can easily add to your presentation or lesson. So these the slide library has 3 different sections. We have the beginning of the lesson, during, and end of the lesson. So these are pre-designed templates that you can add to your presentation so that you will have an interactive slide presentation. Another feature is the featured content. So use new and create ideas from Peer Deck. So these are ready-made interactive slides that you can insert in your presentation. So in this example, we have here critical thinking, social, emotional learning. So these are ready-made templates that you can use and available for you to use in your slides. Another one is ask students a question. So this is the unique feature of Peer Deck, wherein your students can interact and can respond to you using these different kinds of tools. We have the text response, numerical response, embed website, multiple choice, drawing slides, and draggable slide. So as you can see, there are the drawing slide and draggable slide. They have this star, meaning you need to verify your account, meaning you have to proceed the verification of your account so that you can access this drawing and draggable slides. So now I'm going to discuss each, okay? So the first feature is the text interaction. So it allows students to submit single or multiple text responses. For example, you have this question to your students: what is the name for a massive low density planet composed mostly of gas? So the students can answer, in the text using this text interaction. So they can type and you can see their responses live. Automatically, this will send it to you. So once they respond, so you can interact with them. Another feature is the numerical responses. Students simply respond by entering a number. So if you want them, for example, if in your math lesson, so you want you have some questions and you need them to answer an exact answer, so they can write number. Okay. For multiple choice, students may respond to a prompt by selecting one answer from a list. So for this example, they can choose the answer from the choices. Another one is embed website. So teachers can use a website slide to open a website on all student computers at the same time. For example, you have some reading materials and you want them to read it, so you can add the link. Or maybe you want to browse a YouTube channel and you want them to watch a video, you just have to enter the website and they can open that. Okay. Another feature is the drawing slide. So this is very useful, especially for those elementary teachers, because it allows the students to draw and make a sketch or highlight or create some colors. So it allows them to show their creativity. Another one is draggable slides. So allow students to visually show an option or choices by moving one or more icons around the current slide backdrop. So for example, you want them to locate from the map, just like this example. So all the students, the students can drag this icon and place this flag to the map. So you can use, especially for those AP teachers. So you can use this, yeah, for your presentation. So how to present with Peer Deck add-on using Google Slides. So remember, in our previous discussion about Google Slide, you need to click the present button. But for this, if you want to use Peer Deck, you need to present your presentation using the Peer Deck add-on. And all you have to do is to click the Start Lesson, not in the presentation of the Google Slides. So first, you have to click the Start Lesson and then choose a lesson mode. So this is the good thing. You can have a lesson synchronous and asynchronous. So it's up to you. So you just have to choose whether it's a student-faced activity that allows the student that he can work with the lesson, or instructor-faced activity. So this is now the real time wherein you can interact with your students in a real time or synchronous, okay, teaching. And then the third way is to copy the code and send to your students. So instruct your students to go to joinpd.com and then verify their account. So make sure that your students also have Google accounts, and then enter the join code from the projector screen. How to present with your Peer Deck. So this will be the presentation mode. So you can see the navigator wherein you can change the slide. So it will display how many slides. And then it will also, you see the show response button that allows you to see students' responses to interactive slides. So for example, if your students already responded to your questions, you can show the responses to the screen so that other students can see their answers, okay? You can also lock the screen button, allows you to lock the student screen. And then you can also ask students allow the students to ask questions, like it was not planned. So allow them to ask questions. And aside from that, there are other options. And to end, just click the end button. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the hands-on video, and for you to see the real platform. I mean the platform or of the peer deck in the Google Slides. Are you ready to watch the video? Okay.
Welcome back. So to continue, I will show you the step-by-step procedure on how to use the Google Slides with the Peer Deck add-on. Peer Deck add-on allows you to create interactive questions and formative assessments that you can add to your presentation. Are you all ready? Please follow me while I am performing the steps on how to use the Peer Deck. Okay? So let me start. So let me share to you my screen. So here we have our Google Slides. So if for this demonstration, yeah, let's just assume that you already have created your presentation, your Google Slide presentation. And all you have to do is you just need to like add something to your presentation that will make your students engage. I mean, make your students get involved and participate, yeah, in your presentation. So how to do that? So all you have to do is to open your presentation. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is to install your Peer Deck. So what you should do is go to add-ons and then get add-ons. And then select Peer Deck for Google Slides and then install. However, I already installed it in my computer, so I cannot show you how the next step. Yeah, but I already presented that on the slides. So you just have to install it. Once you're done, all you have to do is to go to add-ons again and then look for Peer Deck for Google Slides add-on and then open Peer Deck add-on. So this will appear to your screen. So this is now the Peer Deck add-on. So you have here template library, wherein you can find some pre-designed images and texts. Yeah. And they are classified into beginning of the lesson, during lessons, end of lessons. And so let's try to look the different pre-designed template, okay? So beginning of the lesson. So you can add this one. So these are pre-designed. So you can just insert this to your presentation. So we have here, what did you learn from the homework? So these are pre-designed templates. So all you have to do is just select and then add to your presentation. So for example, I will add this this topic, this content. So what do you wonder about today's topic? All you have to do is to select. Okay. So it automatically add to your presentation. And you can also edit if you want to change something about this template. So remember that you will find in the lower part, yeah, the statement, students write your responses. This will indicate that the students will write their responses. So make sure that you will not remove this one, because once you remove this, the application, the peer deck will not function. For example, if you will delete this one, so make sure that you will not delete if you see this peer deck icon. Okay. So aside from that, let's try to look other transition assessments. Like for example, during the lesson, so you can add this if this is applicable to your presentation. You can add this as your activity for your students. Okay. You can also add end of your lessons. So in 1 minute, write the most important things for today's lessons. For example, I want to add this one in my presentation. So for example, I will just look for my last activity. For example, here. So I will add after reflection. So I'm going to add, select. There you go. So the students will write their responses. Okay, so let's go back to another icon. So there are other pre-designed template that you can insert to your presentation. We also have critical thinking, social emotional learning, and there are also topics or activities, interactive assessments, based on its category. We also have here from grades K to grade 2. So you can add this for your lesson. So you can change and edit. Example, if you can use this for your math lessons, Okay. Science, social studies. So you can use this pre-designed template. Okay. So let's go back to the ask students a question. So as what I have discussed earlier, so they are classified into 6. So you can use this different tools in asking questions to your students. So how are we going to use this different tools? Okay, the first one is text. So you let your students type a response or text. So for example, in these slides, are you all excited for our lesson? You want to add text here, like you want them to respond in a sentence or a text. So all you have to do is just click this icon. So automatically, the icon for peer deck, it states students write your responses. That's easy, right? For multiple choice question, like for example, in your activity and you let them answer some multiple type questions. So all you have to do is to click this icon choice. But first, you have to identify the prepared slides wherein you can ask questions to your students. So I have here like guide questions. So this is based on the story. Because the students will read a story and then I want them to participate and answer the guide questions. So all you have to do is click choice. And then you're going to copy the question item. So make sure that you copy the questions, okay? So that you will just copy and paste here. Okay, let's go back. So let's copy. Okay. For example, I will copy. So because I copy all, so I will just try to get the A choices. Cut. And then paste. Cut again. But make sure that you have the list of questions so that it would be easy. You will not cut and paste. Then add another. You can add another question. So all you have to do is just try to remove the letter, yeah, because it's already given there. Okay. So once you're done, just update the slides. So students will choose an option. So this will allow the students to choose the correct answer. Okay? And you can also use this number wherein you can let your students choose a number. Yeah. So let's just select, but I haven't prepared choices here, so I can add additional slides. So click add new slides. So for example, I will just write select a number. Okay, go back to the number and then so enter a number. So all you have to do is to enter a number. So for example, you have choices 100. Copy and paste, but you will not type 200. So all they have to do is to enter a number. The next part is if you want to, for example, insert a website, like you want them to watch a film or from the YouTube or a topic to reinforce them to learn something aside from your topic. So all you have to do is to insert a website. Yeah. So first thing, you have to create a slides, yeah, to add this website. For example, I will add here a website. Okay. So you just have to type the website. For example, I want to add dictionary. Okay. So it will automatically leads to if you update. So this will automatically go to the page for Cambridge Dictionary. All you have to do is to update. You can add here, go to dictionary. cannot find the following words. Example, jewels. Allow. Contain. So those are examples if you have this kind of activity. Okay. Another thing is draw. Yeah, if you want your students to draw or you want them to draw something, yeah. So how to do that? All you have to do, again, you have to insert and then make topics that you want, I mean, an activity wherein you want them to draw. Yeah, for example, you want them draw the letter A. So all you have to do is click draw. Okay. Update. Then, so you will notice that students draw anywhere on the slide, so they can draw anywhere. Okay, so we have here draggable, the last one. So for example, example here, yeah. I will just remove this for the intention of demonstration. So for example, I have here a question, yeah, an interactive question wherein you want your students to find or locate, yeah, a place in, yeah, in on the map, yeah, the place or a certain place in the country. So all you have to do is to drag, yeah, click this draggable. And then student device next. So you have here the options of the draggable item. So it could be dot, flag. So for this, or pin. Okay, so I will use pin for this demonstration. So update slides. So notice that this peer deck is already included in the drag in your slides. So the students will locate in this presentation. Okay, once you're done with your lesson, yeah, your prepared lesson, all you have to do is to present your slides. I mean, yeah, your presentation. When you already present, I mean, if you want to have the lesson online to your students, all you have to do is to click start lesson. So make sure you will click start lesson, not the present in the Google Slides, okay? Because we will use the peer deck add-on in our presentation. So how are we going to do that? So click start lesson. So we have here student face activity. So peer deck student face mode allows you to get all the power of peer deck engagement even when students are working through lessons at their own pace asynchronously, like they can access it, yeah, asynchronously. And we also have instructor phase activity, wherein you will do the lesson in the real time, wherein they have to answer, or response synchronously while you are having your lesson online. So we will use instructor phase activity. So another link. So you will choose an account. So for example, I will use my account. Launching presentation. So this will appear on your screen. So tell your students to go to this website or type in the website joinpd.com. So I will just copy and paste. So for example, this is my teacher view, and this will be my student view. So all you have to do is to copy the code, this one. You copy and then you send this to your students. Or in another way, you can get student link here and then send the link to your group chat. I mean, in your group chat, if you have some group chats of your students, so that they can access it directly. But if you want them to go to this website, joinpd.com, they have to type this one and then copy the code. So once you copy and you give them, so the student will now enter the code. And once the student enter the code, automatically, the peer deck will ask while we're waiting for things to get started, how are you feeling today? But they can skip that one, okay? So this is now the student's view, okay? And this is now my presentation. So whatever I will do on my slides, it will be seen by the student. For example, I will move to the next. If, for example, I'm already presenting, okay? So I will move to the next slides. So for the student's view, so this will be the student's view. They are asked, what do you wonder about today's topic? So they are required to respond, to write their response here. So for example, they will say, I am happy. So automatically, on teacher's view, I will, you can check here, below here, you see that one of one responses. So meaning there is actually one student who already responded to the question. So if you want, for example, all the students already responded. So for example, you have 50 or 30 students, they already responded. And you want to show your student about the responses. So all you have to do is to click the show responses. So you can also read their responses. I am happy. So those students will key in or answer a response. You can let them view their responses on your presentation. Then you just have to hide after that. And you can move to your next slides. So for this example, you let them hanapin sa mapa kung saang lugar matatagpuan ang Chocolate Hills. So this time, as you see in the student's view, the students have to drag the icon. So they need to drag the icon. So all they have to do is to get the pin and drag. Yeah, and find in the map, yeah, where Chocolate Hills is located. For example, I will place there. Okay, so if I am the student, okay. Now in the teacher's view, so you notice that there is one response, right? So automatically you can show that. So if there are a lot of students, you can identify, yeah, you can show them their responses. And then hide, and you can continue. Okay, so this is an example of a draw button. Okay, let's check for the students' view. So the students are asked to draw anywhere on the slide. So the question is circle how you are feeling. So they can use highlighter and they can choose color. For example, pencil. So I will draw. So I am happy. Then you can check that in your presentation. Yeah, that somebody is already responded. So you can show the response. So it's very interactive. This is just an addition, yeah, online rules. Yeah. So another, let me have, I already shown you the students writing response. Yeah. Let's go directly to the multiple choice. Okay, here. So for multiple choice question, so the students will now choose, yeah, based on the question. Okay, so all they have to do is to select. For example, that's my answer. If I am the student, okay? And then, yeah, you can see the response. So notice that all the responses, yeah, I mean, the peer deck will generate, yeah, the summary of the number of responses from the multiple choice. So you can sum up, yeah. This is also nice if you do this in your quiz or, yeah, something like a formative assessment to your students. Okay. Another thing is the enter a number. So you let the student select a number, enter a number. Example, I will enter a number 100. So you just have to show the response. So it will show a graph, yeah, of the response of the students. Okay. Another is, yeah, the use of browsing a dictionary. So as you can see, they can access directly to the website. For example, I will find the word jewels. And check. Okay. I think it's not functioning. Yeah, so that's the purpose. Okay. So aside from that, we have here draw anywhere on the slides. So I think I already shown that. So they can draw. Example letter A. So you can show the response. Okay, so that's it. That is how to use the peer deck. So how to end, you can just click in presentation. So you can enter the name of the session here. For example, lesson 1. Save and so you can choose an account where do you want to save it. And allow. Return to Google Slides. And we're done. So hopefully this will be a useful tool for you when you conduct your online lessons. So I hope you find it useful. So thank you and have a great day.
Okay now? Okay, so there you have it. Peer deck. Yeah, I hope you will apply this to your lesson and online lesson, and I hope that this will be a useful tool for you to have your online class. So if you want to access the video, feel free to go to my YouTube channel, Cheer Mao, and it is available for you to download the instructional video. So thank you for listening. This is Maurice Dance Bakaling. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Sir Maurice Dance Bakaling of Santa Cruz National High School, for exhausting the features about Google as well as introducing to us this Pear Deck application as an add-on to an interactive presentation. What amazes me is that it usually, interaction is quite limited, especially if it is an online class. So with this Pear Deck, it makes sense to give extra interaction with the audience, especially with the students. So I think there are a few questions that we need to address in this moment of time. First question, sir. Do students need to install Pear Deck or does it work in any device?
Okay, students no need to install Peer Deck. All they have to do is to the teacher will give them the link and the code, and they can click the code. Yeah.
Okay. So how about how do students respond on Pear Deck?
They can respond to in the Peer Deck by answering. I mean, they have to follow the teacher's instruction, because since it's online, so they can interact immediately. So they can respond, and they can, if there are some questions, so they can interact immediately.
Is Pear Deck safe to everyone, especially with respect to privacy?
Yes, it's safe, and yeah.
Thank you so much. I think there's no more questions asked. So that was Sir Maurice Bakaling of Santa Cruz National High School. Thank you so much, sir, for a very informative sharing from utilization of Picker Wheel, Kahoot, and Google Forms to utilization and operation of Google Slides and Pear Deck application, an add-on for interactive presentation. You definitely nailed it, sir. Pride of Santa Cruz National High School. Congratulations. And now we'll proceed to the awarding of certificates. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be presenting certificate of recognition to our facilitators this morning for their commendable services rendered as resource persons in this webinar. So we have here our Chief of Curriculum Implementation Division, Ms. Cherilyn A. Cometa, to give the award. Now, allow me to read the citation. Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, Region 11, Division of Davao del Sur, Lapu-Lapu Street, corner Plaridel Street, Dagu City, Davao del Sur. Certificate of recognition is awarded to Alfie V. Ando, Master Teacher 2 of Hagunoy National High School, in grateful recognition for the exemplary services rendered as resource speaker during the virtual capability building of teachers and school heads on the utilization of media application for online class on May 4 to 6, 2021 through virtual platform. Given this day of May 2021 in Digo City, Philippines, signed Sir Nelson Lopez Seso 5, Schools Division Superintendent. Same award is given to, same recognition of certificate of recognition is given to Sir Ryan R. Pardillos, Teacher 3 of Bansalan Central Elementary School. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, Ma'am Sherilyn, for your presence. And so that concludes our morning session. We are so thankful to finish half of the day with minimal glitches. Thank you so much, Father God, for the provision and, of course, for the amazing technical working group behind the cameras. Before the morning session closes, let me remind the audience about some details, like our link for today's attendance is already flashed on your screen, so you can now register yourselves. Of course, our evaluation link will follow later today, so please watch out for it. So thank you so much, dear teacher and school head participants, for staying with us via DepEd Davao del Sur Classroom and Davao del Sur Facebook page and DepEd Davao del Sur Classroom YouTube channel. Ends our morning session. Now take your lunch break. Bless everyone.